Donald Trump delivered a speech in Florida that ran parallel to the third Republican presidential primary debate last night, where once again he proved maybe it's not Joe Biden's mental acuity that we should be questioning. Ladies and gentlemen, I am back, still sick as a dog, but I derive more suffering from not doing the show than anything else. So here we are. I do apologize for the strange sound of my voice and any breathing issues I have as we go along, but good to be back. Donald Trump spoke last night in Hialeah, Florida, while the third Republican presidential primary debate was taking place in Miami, Florida. And this is something Donald Trump has been doing each time there is a Republican debate, skipping it, but holding some sort of competing event because that's how petty he is. Now, in this segment, we'll look at some moments from the debate and kind of connect the two topics, but I want to start with Trump's doozy of a speech. The first moment is priceless. Right after alluding to Joe Biden being incompetent, Trump confuses North Korea with China. And this comes, I'll remind you, as he has repeatedly struggled with other geographical issues, saying that Hungary borders with Russia, which it doesn't. Repeatedly. Here's this from last night's speech.
World War III, this is the closest, and I hope that one's wrong, and that's not a prediction because I would never make that prediction. It's too horrible a thing to say, but we have never been closer to World War III, and only for one reason. We have incompetent people talking on our behalf. You know, when you deal with China, President Xi, and North Korea, Kim Jong-un, and Russia, Putin, you deal with all these people. The press hates when I say they're smart. He said they were smart. Well, what am I supposed to say? They're stupid people? Kim Jong-un leads 1.4 billion people, and there's no doubt about who the boss is. And they want me to say he's not an intelligent man. They get very personal when I say that because they're fake news. That's why they do that. They're fake. They're fake people, and they're hurting our country very badly.
Now, it was a particularly sweaty night for Donald Trump, as you could see there, but that's not relevant. So he said that Kim Jong-un rules over 1.4 billion people, which is 58 times the population of North Korea. The speculation is, of course, that he was meaning to say Xi Jinping, the other person that he can't get over how smart he is, the president of China, and the population of China is 1.4 billion people. So, okay, one mistake, what's the big deal? Well, I'll remind you that in recent weeks, he's confused which city he was in during a speech, repeatedly mixed up Obama and Biden, and he mixed up Obama and Hillary Clinton, and he mixed up Hungary with Turkey, and he said Hungary borders with Russia, which it doesn't, and he said Biden would lead us into World War II, which has already happened, and on it goes. Here's a video we looked at previously, recapping some of his recent moments.
So we have the worst education almost in the large world, the world that people know about.
The leading political opponent, and leading by a lot, including Obama. I'll tell you what.
What you're doing, the terrorism. Viktor Orban, did anyone ever hear of him? He's the leader of, right? He's the leader of Turkey. And just in conclusion,
Sioux Falls, thank you very much, Sioux Falls.
So Sioux City, Hezbollah and Hamas, communists and Marxists. You know, you have voter ID to buy a loaf of bread. We're drowning in this water you're standing up. We're going to turn Christmas around. Remember, the department stores they refused to use the word Christmas.
Obama he doesn't want to talk about it.
Well, you mean President Biden.
So you get the point. Maybe Trump isn't the best person to criticize Biden over his gaffes. Now, there is just one other moment from Trump's speech last night that I want to look at before discussing how this connects to last night's debate. Here's Trump perpetuating the dumbest talking point in American history.
But every time I'm indicted, I consider it a great badge of honor because I'm being indicted for you. Thanks a lot, everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm being indicted for you. And never forget, our enemies want to take away my freedom because I will never, ever, ever let them take away your freedom. I won't let it happen. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. I will never let them do it. And in the end, they're not after me, they're after you. I just happen to be standing in their way, and that's true. That's true.
Can someone please explain to me how on earth that makes any sense? Trump's being prosecuted for trying to overthrow American democracy and install himself president, and that's because his followers would be getting prosecuted if it wasn't him. What? It doesn't make any sense. And what drives me nuts is I've talked to so many Trump supporters about the subject, and these vague talking points work. I'll press them on what I've said so many times on this show, which is the specifics of the indictment. And often they aren't even aware of what the allegations against Trump are specifically. There was a moment in one of my Mochas with MAGA conversations, and this actually happened repeatedly since at this point, where I brought up the fake elector scheme and people have no idea what I'm referring to. How on earth could you know for sure that Trump is being wrongfully prosecuted if you don't even know what he's being prosecuted for? And so when I say that defenders of Trump avoid diving into the details of the charges against him, it's because it works on their audiences. Instead of diving into those specifics, and that gets kind of tough to defend Trump within, instead they can just float these vague statements about Biden going after Trump and Trump's protecting your freedom by stealing a bunch of government documents or something, or even these big whataboutisms. Oh, what about Biden and he did this thing in Hunter Biden's laptop? You should be able to explain by itself why Trump did nothing worthy of prosecution without bringing up separate cases. Then we can separately have conversations about your allegations against Biden, for example, which I've gone through a gazillion times on the show. Now, while Trump was speaking in Hialeah, Florida, as I said, the Republican presidential primary debate was going on. And because by the time this video comes out, you either have watched the debate or watched recaps of it, I'll just pluck out a few highlights or lowlights, more accurately said, starting with a theme that directly connects to Donald Trump. And that is, especially after Tuesday night's election results, Republicans are realizing they just can't stop losing.
He owes it to you to be on this stage and explain why he should get another chance. He should explain why he didn't have Mexico pay for the border wall. He should explain why he racked up so much debt. He should explain why he didn't drain the swamp. And he said Republicans were going to get tired of winning. Well, we saw last night, I'm sick of Republicans losing.
We've become a party of losers at the end of the day. It was a cancer in the Republican establishment. Let's speak the truth.
And it's just true. Now, different candidates on that stage will have different reasons they'll say their losing record should be attributed to. Vivek, for example, won't blame Trump, but this is Chris Christie's prescription.
Cameron was also notably endorsed by Trump. He was embraced by him and embraced Trump himself. Was that a mistake on his part?
Daniel Cameron was a rising star in the Republican Party until he decided to throw his lot in with Donald Trump. I mean, let's face it, Donald Trump is political and electoral poison down ballot.
Now, Donald Trump is obviously a huge part of it. We'll talk in a later segment today about how abortion rights is also leading to huge Democratic victories and was massive in Tuesday night's election results. But when you zoom out, Trump does hover over the exact timeline where Republicans have repeatedly struggled. Ever since he won in 2016, it's really been a whole lot of losing since, or underperforming at least, expectations, especially with Trump-aligned candidates. And I think it's because America broadly is sick of Trumpism and MAGA. So as long as the Republican Party continues to embrace that MAGA ideology, the losing streak will continue, hopefully. The problem, though, is it's the Republican primary voters who just don't care. They'll keep losing and keep choosing Trump or his candidates. And that's what we keep observing. So until the voters in Republican primaries give up on MAGA, the GOP is going to continue to struggle. I mean, Trump has a gargantuan lead on everyone else in the primary polling. I'll put the visual up on screen, but it's a 40-something point lead over the second place person, DeSantis. That is, barring something unheard of, an unbeatable lead in the polls. So Republican voters care more about Donald Trump than they do about winning. What else was notable about the Republican debate? Vivek Ramaswamy, as his campaign sort of loses steam, came out just trying to make noise and was rather deranged, as we've become used to. Here was him calling the Jewish president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, a Nazi.
It has celebrated a Nazi in its ranks, the comedian in cargo pants, a man called Zelensky, doing it in their own ranks. That is not democratic.
Absolutely insane. Then here was a back and forth that was interesting between him and Nikki Haley, where things get personal.
Mr. Ramaswamy, we've talked about this. You campaign on TikTok. How do you get TikTok banned if you use it?
Well, I want to laugh at why Nikki Haley didn't answer your question, which was about looking at families in the eye. In the last debate, she made fun of me for actually joining TikTok while her own daughter was actually using the app for a long time. So you might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my daughter out of your voice.
Your adult daughter. The next generation of Americans are using it. And that's actually the point. You have her supporters propping her up. That's fine. Here's the truth.
You're just
the easy
scum.
answer is actually to...
You're just scum, she says. We'll leave it there on the Republican debate breakdown. I've done past deep dives and gone through a bunch of clips from these Republican debates and have received very little engagement and interest from the audience. So I assume that's because if you're interested, you either watched it last night or, like I previously said, caught some other recap of it. But to sum it up, Trump is still going to win the primary, unfortunately. So all this is really not serving a huge purpose. Before we go, don't forget to become a member at lukebeasleyshow.com/membership to get access to a daily bonus show, an entire bonus show, Monday through Friday, usually, except for when I get slammed with a sickness like never before. But today I will be back no matter how much is going on up here. Plus, follow me on Threads at Luke Beasley Official, Instagram at Luke Beasley Official, or X at Luke P. Beasley, and sign up for That Beasley Brief, a daily morning newsletter that summarizes the previous day's events by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/brief. And I will talk to you all in the next video.